How's it going, everyone? This is DoctorJefe, and welcome back to the Mother of Us All Achievement Run tutorial. And as you can see, we have expanded a lot since the forming the Kanem-Bornu Empire video. We are connected from the Atlantic all the way out to the Indian Ocean. I think we have a little corner popping out over there. And yes, we are finally at the point where we will adopt feudal ways. Currently don't have it because I haven't clicked the Absolute Tribal Authority button yet, but that shouldn't be a problem. But before we get into the adopting the feudal ways, let's have a little recap of how we got from just our Kanem-Bornu Empire to where we are now. So basically we've been expanding using the Conquer Duchy. I haven't had need to use Holy Wars yet. In fact, you can use subjugations or invade kingdoms. And the reason why I've been avoiding Holy Wars is because Holy Wars actually reduce your fervor when you win. Now, I've had 2 times when fervor has gone low enough that heresies, you have a heresy outbreak. And currently, our only heresy is the Old Bori. One of the counties follow this faith, but I've actually been doing a pretty good job in making sure that all of our rulers are Bori. We only have 2 currently who aren't, and they have pretty high liking of us that if I was able to demand conversion, you do have a pretty long cooldown in between your demanding conversion, but they would be pretty likely to accept. And one of the keys to that is actually getting this thoughtful perk, the opinion gained from send gift plus 100%, that allows you to get a really huge boost to their opinion when you send them some gold. And you're able to do that if you kind of, go outside of your whatever your focus is. You could go into diplomacy for, I believe, 5 years is between the cooldowns of choosing your focus. Or because we are part of a witch's coven, when you host the Grand Rite, you often have a chance to gain a perk. Another thing is that the the Warmonger tenet. The Warmonger tenet that we chose when we reformed the Bori faith. It has been great for constantly expanding. In fact, I've probably been at war 95% of the time, and popular opinion's still high. Haven't had to deal with any peasant uprisings for my lands, at least. I do help out my vassals when there's usually a religious uprising when we take over new lands. But yes, no peasant uprisings. However, you will see that your non-Bori vassals have a huge negative opinion. You can see we have minus 107 offensive war. Luckily, we've swayed them a bunch. We've just spent so much time swaying them, giving them money. We are the living legend. We have super high prestige, which is something you'll get from just constantly conquering, creating duchies, handing them out. So yeah, but you will have that high negative opinion modifier. So just be aware of that you will have to work to overcome that in your non-Bori faith vassals. Another interesting thing about this run has been our lineage. If you saw my matrilineal marriage video, you'll realize why. The Daura dynasty got all sorts of screwed up by our daughters going into regular marriages instead of matrilineal marriages. However, there was one daughter who was going to inherit the empire. However, she died in a hunting accident, which sounds pretty horrible. Probably somebody killed her. But she had one son, and that was the only person of our dynasty left. So that was the most exciting time in the run, was we had just this guy, our Sarakana Daura. He was 3 years old, had a lot of negative modifiers. In fact, people who are of the Bori faith still have this negative modifier towards me for being a, yes, female dominated, and I'm a male ruler. So a lot of people had negative 100 opinion. I was just finishing up a holy war for the Kingdom of Egypt, or yes, it's called Tulanid if the Muslims control it, but now Kingdom of Egypt. And then he, he takes control, has this, everyone joins an independence faction, and then there's an independence war. And luckily, I had saved up so much money. I had about 5,000 gold at that time. You make a ridiculous amount of gold as an empire this large. Not only from ransoming people, but also I unlocked the... We go to the perks, unlocked the golden obligations. And you can see there's so many people who you can demand payment from. 57 of them. And that's because as the house head, we get a hook on basically everybody of our house who's born after us, and then we can ask them for money. So we can just get so much money coming in. Like her, she's supposed to owe us 225. We'll take 116. Whatever, it's fine. And you can use that to just keep pumping so much money into your coffers. So when that Independence War fired, I just went over here, went to my mercenaries, you know, bought like 3 of the most expensive ones, and that was enough to along with my levies, to put down that Independence War. And how am I feeling about this run so far? It's taking a while. It's taken a while to get to where we are, but I do really enjoy in the battles. You know, when you click into the battle, I get to see, you know, my women knights just ripping the heads off our enemies and becoming berserkers, and that's awesome. I mean, it's so boring to see the male knights just fighting each other. I just love watching these women knights just destroy all these men. It's a great change of pace for Crusader Kings 3. Alright, let's get into adopting feudalism and why you want to do it. Now the main thing is because we now have enough land over here in Guinea that we can form an empire through Confederate partition. So this empire is going to be formed, and it's going to go to one of our other daughters. We have tons of daughters. Thankfully, our succession is safe now. But yeah, it's going to be hard to keep our empire together as we expand, and we want to get all of Africa. Remember, all of Africa converted to our faith, and one decision that will help us is this Unite Africa, because there's a 33% chance that every non-Bori vassal will convert to Bori, and every non-Bori county will convert to Bori. So that'll be a huge boost to getting this achievement done quicker. So in order to remove the Confederate partition, we will need to research hereditary rule, so we can enact the partition law, and then finally we can expand, and as long as we don't create any new empires, those empires won't be created and given to other heirs. So, let's just review what you need to do to adopt the feudal ways. Number 1, you have to have absolute tribal authority. So, I've kept it here on high tribal authority so that at the point when I'm ready to adopt feudalism, I can just easily click over here. It costs 600. The realm size means that it's actually supposed to be 1,100 prestige, but you can see you get so much prestige from going into wars and then creating duchies and handing them out. So getting enough prestige for this is no problem. Let's just click on this. The reason why I haven't gone up to this yet is because you have a negative 30 vassal opinion modifier, whereas at level 3 you only have a minus 10 vassal opinion modifier. Now we get the pop-up for being able to adopt feudal ways. Let's look at the other requirements. Bori is an organized faith. We already had that. In fact, that's part of the achievement run. Your level of fame is distinguished or above. We already talked about how easy it is to get prestige. The development level in the Chiefdom of Daura is greater than or equal to 5. It's very easy to get to that. In fact, I've had my steward just working on increasing development for the time when development actually matters. When we're tribal, it doesn't really matter right now. But once we adopt feudalism, it will help increase the tax and levies that we get from our holdings. And yeah, you don't need them collecting taxes because as you see, we have tons of money already. So getting up to 5 development is very simple, very straightforward. And in fact, the real limiting factor is has all tribal era innovations. And it's taken us 150 years from the game start to unlock all these tribal era innovations. Luckily, you don't need the cultural and regional innovations in order to be able to adopt the feudal ways. And one of the ways that I got here so quickly was super high learning. As you can see, I've been pumping so much into this character's learning. In fact, we've chosen his focus to be scholarship focused, so you have increased learning. Chose the perks to give you increased learning. Also perks to increase his health so that our ruler lives a long time. Because as I stated, pretty much the only scary point in this run is when your ruler dies and you have a succession crisis. But yeah, you want to go into the lifestyle learning in order to be able to unlock these innovations more quickly. Now, I've heard that adopting feudalism gives quite a hit to your ruler in terms of levies as well as gold that you make. So let's see what happens. Also, these buildings, the tribal buildings, will be removed, and some feudal buildings should replace them. But let's see how much of a hit it is to our levy amount and gold once we click the Adopt Feudal Ways button. Costs 200 prestige, no big deal. Alright, the old ways have served us well and we will always honor them. However, as the Sarkin Sarukhana of Kanem-Bornu, I have concluded that we must adopt feudalism and its principles if we shall continue to prosper. It is the crucial next step on our road to greatness and our road to getting the mother of us all achievement. Long live Kanem-Bornu, changes our government to feudal, all tribal holdings will become castle holdings, and all tribal vassals will change to feudalism. Alright, so we went from 50,000 levies to 27,000. That's almost half, which is a pretty big hit, and we went from making 40 gold to plus 17 gold, which again is like about half. Let's see what happened to our holdings. Oh, okay. I was worried that they would all be destroyed, but as you can see, they've just been converted, so no worries there. So yeah, you're going to lose about half of your levies and half of your gold, and I'm not too concerned about that. In terms of other countries in Africa, Adoran, the Empire of Adoran, they only have 3,000 soldiers. Kong, we've completely crushed them. Our biggest enemy may be what was the Abbasid Empire. They only have 2,000 soldiers. The Byzantines, okay, they have 16,000, but still, that's nothing compared to our 27,000. I'm not afraid. So, all those warnings about, you know, how adopting feudalism causes such a big hit to your country, yes, it's a big hit, but when you're as large as we are, being Kanem-Bornu, you don't really need to worry too much about it. Now, one of the optimal things may be to move our capital to Giza and adopt the Egyptian culture. Now, why would we want to do that? The main thing is that they're already in early medieval. They've already unlocked some of the Egyptian innovations, and it would be much more quicker to research hereditary rule if we were Egyptian. However, we've played 150 years as Hausa. You know, this is the birthplace of the mother of us all, in Daura. We're going to stay here. We're going to keep on being Hausan. Even though it's probably not optimal, it's going to take a little bit longer. It's fine. We'll go with that. So currently we're going to have to wait 16 years in order to even unlock the early medieval era. And then we're going to have to spend time unlocking hereditary rule. Now, our leader's pretty old. He's 65. There's no way he's going to live. Okay, maybe a small chance that he could live long enough. But pretty much no way he's going to live long enough to see the unlocking of partition rule. So what are we going to do in order to make sure that the Empire of Guinea doesn't go to our second daughter? We don't want our giant empire to be broken up. One thing we can do, since we only have one more county than we need, I guess technically 2 more than we need to break it up, is we could just grant independence to one of our vassals. We would then have not enough land in order to form the empire. So, yeah, and we can do that pretty smartly with the Know Thyself perk. We'll know when our death is 1 year away. We can grant that vassal independence, and yeah, we'll keep our empire from splitting apart. So we still have the Conquest Casus Belli. I was worried, a little bit worried, not hugely worried, that we would lose that Casus Belli. However, we would still have access to the Holy Wars everyone who's Bori is under our control, so we wouldn't have to worry about it. We could use our holy wars against every person that we wanted. My only concern was that, as I stated earlier, winning the holy wars does decrease your fervor, which then makes it more likely for heresies to pop up, as well as making it take longer to convert counties. Alright, I believe that was all I wanted to go over in this Adopting Feudalism video as part of the Mother of Us All achievement run. In the next video, I believe we will have conquered all of Africa, and we'll be converting everything to Bori, and hopefully I get it to a point where we can just, have the video go right as we convert the last county and get the Mother of Us All achievement. Alright, until then, I hope that your achievement runs are going well, and as always, do remember to take care of yourself.